How do you introduce the guy? You know, pretty much everybody knows everything about him. They know he was a great president, and we want to make him president again. But you know, what I thought I'd say is, you know, what are the qualifications you need to be a good president? Well, number one, you need to love this country, right? We got a lot of leaders who don't love this country, but there are, frankly, if we're being honest, a lot of people who love this country you wouldn't want to make president just because they love the country. You need something else. And when I wrote my convention speech, and I wrote it mostly myself, had some help from some friends, but I was looking at the history of President Trump's engagement with his country, and one of the things that jumped out at me is if you think about the biggest mistakes we've made as a country, the things that have hurt my home state of Ohio, this state, Michigan, the most, you kind of run through the list of things. I'd start with Obviously, Gretchen Whitmer's a problem. I'm talking about even further back than that. NAFTA. Giving China the sweetheart trade deal and letting them into the World Trade Organization. The Iraq War in 2003. On every single one of those issues, Joe Biden was wrong and President Donald J. Trump was right. Even though he was a real estate developer in New York, he knew instinctively what this country needed and how to put the interests of the citizens of this country first. Now, we had a hell of a 4 years with President Donald J. Trump, didn't we? In 4 years, he undid, I believe, 30 years of damage, of terrible leadership. Are we ready to give him 4 more years? Are we ready to hear from the next president of the United States, President Donald J. Trump? Come on out, sir.
And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Well, thank you very much. This is like a Michigan football game over here. This is pretty good. This is pretty good. I want to thank you, JD, for the introduction. You're going to be a fantastic Vice President of the United States. And you know, I chose him because he's for the worker. He's for the people that work so hard and perhaps weren't treated like they should have been, but they were treated that way 4 years ago, I can tell you that. But we're going to get it back bigger, better, stronger than ever before. Thank you very much. This is some crap. I'm thrilled to be back in the great state of Michigan with thousands and thousands, and I mean lots of thousands up here. This is a hell of an arena. This is a hell of an arena. But you are the hardworking patriots that we love. You know, they have crowds of people outside. You're not even going to believe it. They go blocks and blocks. But let's forget about them, right? Let's forget about them. Let me begin this evening with a very special thanks to Americans nationwide, including all of you here today, for your extraordinary outpouring of love and support in the wake of the horrific last Saturday event. And when you think of it, it was exactly 1 week ago today, almost to the hour, even to the minute. Yeah. Incredible. What a day it was. As I said earlier this week, I stand before you only by the grace of Almighty God. That's true. I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be here. Maybe JD or somebody else would be here, but I shouldn't be here right now. But something very special happened. Let's face it, something happened. I want to thank Butler Memorial Hospital in Pennsylvania for the incredible job they did and service they gave, and all of the great citizens of Butler, Pennsylvania, and the surrounding area, and everyone else for the job they did and the love that they showed us all. It was incredible, actually. What a time that was. What a time that was. Nobody's seen anything like it, and hopefully they never will again. And they had cameras blazing. I guess it was different in that way, too, because we were right in the middle. All those, see, look at all the news back there, and they were all blazing. They were going. No, they covered it fairly. They couldn't believe what they were seeing either. So you did cover it fairly. Let me also thank Congressman Ronnie Jackson from Texas. You know Congressman Ronnie Jackson, for the care and treatment he gave me as an outstanding doctor, which he is. He's really an amazing guy. Where's Ronnie? Doc Ronnie's here someplace. Thank you, Ronnie. Thank you very much. Great doctor. He was a great admiral, a great doctor. He's a White House doctor for Bush, Obama, and a guy named Trump. And they said, who was the healthiest of the three? He said, not even a question, Trump. And I said, I love that guy. I love that guy. When he said that, that was my doctor. Even if he's a congressman, that was my doctor. But he's been a great congressman. Thank you very much, Ronnie, for everything. We appreciate it. Ronnie Jackson. We continue to pray for the recovery of the two citizens who were wounded in that evil attack, David Dutch and James Copenhaver, two really incredible people. We remain in contact and send our deepest respect to the families. Corey, as you know, Corey Comparator was a brave firefighter who died, funeral yesterday, shielding his wife and daughters from bullets. He shielded them from the bullets of this horrendous person. Corey was a hero, and we will carry his memory in our hearts for all time. Great hero. That's great. And he was a big Trumper, and we will never forget him, right? We're all together. We're all together. There's never been anything like what you witnessed the other day with the convention. I don't think there's ever been a convention where there was such unity and love, and even now I'll say it just for a second, the fake news even said it that way. I want to be nice, but the fake news reported it correctly. There's never been such unity, and everybody did a great job, and the speeches and everything. It was just an incredible event. And I'll tell you what, Milwaukee was a fantastic place. This was a beautiful arena, and they did a really great job. And Wisconsin is going to vote for us because we spent $250 million. And when they go into the voting booth, they're going to say, we love this guy Trump. He gave us $250 million with jobs, and they're going to vote. Wisconsin's a very important state, as we know. But they really did. Wisconsin did a great job. Milwaukee, they did a great job, and the arena was fantastic. And it was just love. It was like a big, beautiful 4-day love fest. There was no fight, you know? There was no fight, no screams, no shouting, no get that guy off the platform. And in case there was, we had the Hulkster with us, right? How good was he? How good was the Hulkster? And Kid Rock called, he said, I want to get, you know, Kid Rock is big, and he wanted to get down, and he did an unbelievable job. He was great. But all of them, everybody. We had so many great people there. It was really an amazing thing to see, and it was really something I don't think there's ever been. A lot of people report. I think it was either party. There's never been anything like it. And now we have something coming up where they're going to go for the convention, and they have a couple of problems. Number one, they have no idea who their candidate is, and neither do we. That's a problem. But we'll see. Hopefully they get it worked out. Sort of interesting, this guy goes and he gets the votes, and now they want to take it away. That's democracy. They talk about democracy. Let's take it away from them. But now we go forward as one movement, and really we have a very special group of people, like the people here. You people built this country. It's one movement, and we're more united, determined than ever before. We've never been so determined. Bad things happened last time. We're not going to let them happen this time. Bad things happen. We will never stop working to deliver a magnificent future for our people, and together we will fight, right? And we will win. All right. Thank you. I like this place. You ever walk in to a place and you say, I sort of like this place? Less than 4 months from now, we are going to win Michigan. We are going to take back the White House in a monumental landslide. And with your help, we are going to make America great again. Right? At our convention on just a little while ago in Milwaukee on Thursday, it was my tremendous honor to officially accept the Republican nomination for President of the United States. And I used to say it in 2016, and I meant it 100%, but I mean it even more now because this country has gone wrong. We're a failing nation. We're really a left-at failing nation right now. This will be the most important election in the history of our country. This is going to be the most important election. We cannot let it slip by. We cannot let people cheat. We cannot let this slip by, or we're not going to have a country. Because I do have other things I could be doing. It would be a lot easier. Although I'd rather be with you than sitting on some gorgeous beach watching boring waves coming in. No, I would rather be. Actually, I would. You know that. I think that's one of the reasons we've been so successful together. You know I mean that, too. but we're going to make our country more successful than ever before. Yet even as we gather this evening, we will, and take a look, still the Democratic nominee, we're going to find out shortly, maybe, I don't know. Let's do this. Let's do a poll. You know, I love doing polls, right? Like I do a poll, I do lots of polls, like, do you like Make America Great Again, or do you like America First, or do you like them both? I like them both, right? But let's do a poll on candidates, ready? So I'll go, we're going to do a poll on a few candidates. The press will like this because they won't have to pay for the poll. You know, you do these crazy polls and they charge you $250. Look, there's Mr. Wall. This guy is the greatest guy. This guy. He must have a lot of money because he's at so many different rallies. And he was at the one, that was a tough one, wasn't he? That was something. You were right up in the front there. You saw that. That was something. We're going to do a poll, and it's going to be a very nice poll. And right? Who's your favorite candidate? Who would you like? Let's do it. Who would you most like to run against? Because, you know, you could say, who's the best candidate? We're saying, who would you like to? We'll start with Kamala Harris, and then we'll go to crooked Joe Biden, and then we could possibly discuss a few. So who would you like to most run against if you're us, if we want to win? Ready? Kamala Harris, crooked Joe Biden. All right. I don't think we have to go too much further. Well, you have a terrible governor here who did a terrible job. Whitman. I'd like to run against her, actually. I'd like to run against her. So she's one of the 20 that I mentioned. She's the one that gave her husband full right, title, and interest to everything, but nobody else could do anything but her husband. Her husband was sailing in the middle of your lake, your beautiful lake. He's out there sailing, and everybody else had to be locked up, right? Her husband. No, but things like that are mentioned during a campaign, little things like that. No, she's done a terrible job, but I'd be very happy with her. At this very moment, Democrat Party bosses are frantically trying to overthrow the results of their own party's primaries to dump crooked Joe Biden from the ballot. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy. And as you're seeing, the Democrat Party is not the party of democracy. They're really the enemies of democracy. The parties of corrupt insiders like Whitmer, special interests, and the failed political class. That's what they are. Under our leadership, the Republican Party is now the party of the people. We're the party of hardworking Americans of every race, religion, color, and creed. We become a very big party. We become, right, fellas? You know what I'm talking about. I love you guys. We love you guys. No, we become a very big party. We have increased in size. Nobody's ever, honestly, in history, there's never been anything like this movement. And that may be in the history of the world, but let's keep it down to the country for right now, because that's the thing. But there's never been anything like MAGA. When Biden says, we have to stop MAGA, we will stop MAGA. I said, he doesn't know what MAGA stands for. It stands for Make America Great Again. How can you be against that? How can you be against that? And you know, the other side's going around trying to make me sound extreme. Like I'm an extremist. I'm not. I'm a person with great common sense. I'm not an extremist at all. Like some on the right, severe right, came up with this Project 25, and I don't even know. I mean, some of them I know who they are, but they're very, very conservative, just like you have. They're sort of the opposite of the radical left, okay? You have the radical left and you have the radical right, and they come up with this, I don't know what the hell it is, it's Project 25. He's involved in Project, and then they read some of the things, and they are extreme. I mean, they're seriously extreme. But I don't know anything about it. I don't want to know anything about it. But what they do is misinformation and disinformation, and they keep saying, he's a threat to democracy. I'm saying, what the hell did I do for democracy? Last week, I took a bullet for democracy. What did I do against democracy? Crazy. Hello, Chris. Here's our great campaign man. Chris, are you having a good time? Look at him. He's back there, cool as a cucumber. You know, so far, they're giving us great credit for the best run campaign they've seen in years. Isn't that nice? Thank you, Susie. Thank you, Chris. Look how cool he is. Just sits there. Thanks, Ed. Try doing it with another candidate sometime. That gets tough, right? Anyway, thank you very much. Great job, Chris, Susie, the whole group. We have a great group of people. They love this country. They want to save the country. That's what we're doing. With your vote in this election, the Trump-Vance administration, by the way, I made the right pick. He's so great. They were all good. They were all good, but he's really stepped up. But the Trump-Vance administration will begin rapidly reversing every single Biden-Harris disaster starting on day one. And when you vote for Biden, you're probably voting indirectly for Harris anyway, whether you like it or not. It's common sense. It's all common sense, right? We will end the inflation nightmare that you would have never had. We had no inflation. See, there's another thing. Biden always goes around, I inherited 9% inflation. And even the radical left reporters up there, look at all of them. Whoa, they have a lot. They have a lot of them. They have a lot of them. Look at those cameras. But they'll start turning off as soon as I start mentioning certain things. I'll say, the red light just went off. No, but actually the radical left reporters, of which there are quite a few, I can't believe it. I don't know why they'd have them. But the radical left reporters say, the guy's right. You know, wasn't it until 2 years in that we became destroyed with inflation? Inflation is a country buster. It's a class buster. It busts everything. Low income, middle income especially, and they get they're busted. The country gets busted. Look at Germany from centuries ago. Look at every country that's had inflation. And we had, I believe, the greatest inflation in the history of our country. They don't even report it properly because they leave the worst numbers out. They don't talk about interest rates that went to 10, 11, 12%, and you can't get the money. So what does that mean, 12%, if you can't get the money? It means it's higher from 2%. We will seal the border, and we will stop this terrible invasion that's destroying our country. We will crush migrant crime. We're going to crush migrant crime. Oh, we have a new form of crime now. It's called migrant crime. The only good thing about these migrants coming in is they make our gang members and criminals look like the nicest people you've ever met. These people are much tougher. They come from all over the world, not just from South America. We're going to return law and order to our streets and restore patriotism to our schools. We gave you already the largest tax cut in the history of our country, larger than the Reagan cuts, but now we will give you an additional tax cut, a number of tax cuts that will make it. We took in more money after the tax cuts than we did prior. We took in billions and billions of dollars more after the tax cuts that we did. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. Everyone knows that. We're going to slash regulations. That's what created all of those jobs. And gave them bounce-back jobs. You know, they're called bounce-back jobs. After COVID, they bounce back. Everybody knows that. When you have something like COVID, which rarely happens, but when you have something like that, they're called bounce-back jobs. And we're going to bring down energy prices very rapidly. It was energy that caused the problem and their stupidity. And we're going to bring it down very quickly. Your energy bills will be cut in half, at least cut in half. Some sections, like in New England, I'll be able to cut their energy by 60, 70%. It's absolutely crazy what has happened with energy. We buy the oil from Venezuela. They used to be our enemy. I don't know. We buy from Venezuela. It's not really oil, it's tar. And you know, there's only one refinery in the world that can do it. It's very heavy, horrible stuff. It's garbage. It's tar. You lift it. I said, that's not oil. We want light, sweet, crude. We have the best oil. We have the best everything. We go to Venezuela. You know where they refine it? In Houston, Texas. It's the only plant in the world that can refine that stuff. So we go to Venezuela. We pay them a fortune. We take that dictatorship. We make the dictatorship wealthy. These people don't know what the hell they're doing. They're incompetent. They're grossly incompetent. The biggest threat is because we have incompetent. That's the threat to democracy. It's a threat to our country. We have incompetent people leading our country, grossly incompetent people. America's enemies will fear us. The United States will again command the respect that it deserves. Viktor Orban, the very powerful leader of Hungary, said, when asked what happened with the world that's falling to pieces, there are wars all over, he said, bring back Trump, it'll all end. It all ended. We had no problem in the world. And something beautiful is going to happen because we will bring back the American dream, and it'll be bigger, better, and bolder than ever before. Right? And most importantly, for the people of this great state, you know, years ago, they gave me in Michigan the Man of the Year. That was long before I was a politician. I was a business guy, I did well, I liked the state, but I don't know, I heard Man of the Year, Michigan. I said, that's cool, that's good, I'm gonna make that trip. I didn't know why they were giving it to me, nothing, but they were giving it to me for, I guess, the fact that I employed a lot of people, I did real well. This is probably 14 years ago. And I came in and I said, why do you allow foreign countries like Mexico? You know, Mexico's, we think of them as friendly, but they haven't been too friendly lately. How about where they asked Biden to meet, just to meet? They want $2 billion to meet. They wouldn't ask that. See, they wouldn't even ask me that because I'd say, I will put 100% tariffs on everything you send into a country if you even think about asking. They want $2 billion to meet. In other words, we won't meet with you unless you pay us $2 billion. And this is every single year they want $2 billion. No, it works the opposite of that, the exact opposite. But you know, when you see the things that are happening to our country, and all you have to do is know how to speak. When I watched the way our border was handled, we had the best border, the safest border, the border that saved my life. You know, I was pointing to an immigration border sign when I made this turn, and that thing went that way instead of that way. So I owe immigration my life. It's true. It's true. Now, think about it. I'm talking thousands and thousands, much more than even this. I mean, we're restricted because you're in this giant arena. That's the one thing about outdoor that's good. You can have unlimited, thousands and thousands as far as the eye can see. Nobody's over here or over here because there's nobody there. It starts like this, as far as the eye can see. And I said, look at the great results that we had on immigration. Just look at them. If I didn't say that, and it's because we had like a crane holding this massive sign, I call it the $1 million sign. They're expensive. But that sign was very good. I think I'm going to sleep with it tonight. I'm going to sleep with it tonight. I said, what was that? What was that? Ooh, then I looked. I said, that's not good. That's not good. So it was immigration, if you think about it, right? Immigration. I would have never been looking to the right, and I had to be. It was the only place that would have saved us. They do these reports in the New York Times and all over the place where they had, you know, the shape, you know, if he turns this way, this way, this way. If every shot was no good for me except for the one direct, and came whizzing by. And I hope we have to never go through that again, everybody, because it's so horrible, horrible. But most importantly, for the people of your state, this great state, I will rescue the U.S. auto industry from obliteration. They're going to obliterate your auto industry. And anybody that that votes for the head of the United Auto Workers. This guy doesn't know what he's doing. He's approved all electric cars. And you know, Elon, I love Elon Musk. Do we love him? I love him. And I'm constantly talking about electric cars, but I don't mean I'm against, I'm totally for them, but whatever the market says, and if it's 10% of the market, 12%, 7%, 20%, whatever it is, it's okay. But you can't have 100% electric cars. And you know, so Elon endorsed me recently, the other day, actually. He's great. Elon Musk. He's a brilliant guy. Every time I call him, he's talking about, I got a new idea for a rocket. You have to hear this? No, it's true. You know, the first time I ever saw this, I'm watching television like 3 years ago, and I see a rocket engine, motor engine, come down landing, straight up in, no wings, no nothing, and it's landing. I thought I was seeing things. What is that? And it's landing on a barge in the middle of the ocean. And then another one comes down, and another one, I guess 4 of them came down, 3 or 4, and they land upright. I said, what the hell was that? I've never seen that before. Now, if that were government, you wouldn't see that for another 50 to 100 years. But it was Elon. Now, think of that. And I called him, and I've always had a good relationship with him, but I called him, and I said, what was that? He said, well, we saved the engines. We saved the engines because it's very expensive to build. So, I mean, it didn't take me long to figure that if you save them, that's good. But who the hell thought you could do that? No wings, no nothing. Just like these big, long, massive tubes. And they're landing gently right on the dot. I said, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. And you say, how long would it take government to come up with that one? I don't think they ever heard of it. Perhaps they still haven't heard of it. But, you know, he's a very advanced person, and he's doing other things that are great, and so are others. We have to make life good for our smart people, you know? We have some smart people. We have to make life good for our smart people, and he's as smart as you get. But Elon endorsed me the other day, and I didn't even know this. He didn't even tell me about it. But he gives me $45 million a month. A month. Not 45 million. Gives me 45 million a month. And I talked to him just a little while ago to say I was coming here, how you doing? And he didn't even mention it. He didn't mention. I mean, other guys, they give you $2 and you got to take them to lunch. You got to wine them, dine them. No, he's a great guy, he really is. But, you know, he's never mentioned to me, why are you hitting the electric cars? Because he understands I'm not hitting it. I think it's incredible. I've had them, I've driven them, they're incredible. But they're not for everybody. Some people have to drive long distances. And they tend to be more expensive. And, you know, they'll probably be made in China because China has all of that material. Oh, there's the guy that I stood up here. Are you the same guy, the same muscles? Look at that guy. Are you the same guy? Yes? No kidding. It's pretty good memory, right? Unlike somebody else that I happen to be running against. You wouldn't. Come on up here. Get up here. I got to get this guy. This guy was central casting. Look at him. Look. Oh, I think he was standing on a box. That was the only thing. I said, come on up here. Don't hurt yourself. Can you get him up? I like this guy. He's a serious union guy, a United Auto Workers. Look at him get over there. It's okay. He does not carry guns. He's not, come on up here. Look at him. Look at his shape he's in.
I'm glad to see you. I'm glad to see you. I'm glad to see this guy. I told you we're going to get 85 million of us out there to vote for him. So let's go home from this rally and do our part.
Look at the arms on him. I may have height, but his arms are definitely more powerful, huh? Look at that guy. Now, last time I was here, I saw him, and he was so great, and he was agreeing with us on auto. We want to bring car manufacturing back, and what the deal with this thing with the all-electric cars by in 6 years from now? It's ridiculous. You know, in the Midwest, they open up chargers. They opened up 8 chargers. You read about this. $9 billion they spent for 8 chargers. That's like a gas pump. I guess it would be like the equivalent of a gas pump for electric, right? They spent $9 billion on 8 chargers. This is 8 little chargers. $9 billion. How do you do that? It would cost at that rate $5 trillion to create enough charges so it could run. It doesn't work. And it doesn't work the trucks either. I was with Swift, big Swift company. How many trucks you own? 29,000, sir. 29,000? That's a lot of trucks. One of the biggest, I guess like the biggest. I think he's the biggest, right? And he said, they want to destroy our business. They want us to go all electric. I said, so what's wrong with electric? I said, if you take a big, beautiful, like Peterbilt or one of the great manufacturers, how many times would you have to stop from New York to Los Angeles? None, sir. We go right there. We have some left over. Really? That's with diesel. I said, what about if it's electric? We have 6 to 7 stops, about 3 hours each. So immediately he's saying, that's not working too well. He said, but there are other problems. He said, the truck is so much heavier that you'd have to rebuild every bridge in the country. That doesn't sound too good, right? And then the third thing, he said that the battery is so much bigger than a tank, a big tank for the diesel or for the gasoline, but the diesel mostly. It's so much bigger that most of our payload would be holding batteries. In other words, we wouldn't have any room for the product. So let's say you hear those 3 minor details. Typically, you would end the conversation, would say, that doesn't work. These people said, we don't care. We want you to go all electric. Can you believe these people? They're crazy. They're crazy. No, they're crazy. And they want boats to do the same thing. I was with in South Carolina, one of the biggest boat manufacturers of, smaller fishing boats from, let's say, 16 to 35 feet. And he said, we have a problem. They keep pushing, the beautiful outboard engines. You have Mercury and Evinrude, I guess they used to have. I don't know if they have it anymore. But those big, beautiful outboard engines they have, they work great. Or just interior engines run by a thing called gasoline. So he said they want us to figure out how to go all electric in a boat, right? All electric. I said, well, what is the problem? He said, we'd have to take the entire lower cabin where we have bedrooms, and we'd have to make that into a battery. But the bigger problem is, sir, it won't float because it's so heavy. It won't float. It won't float. And I always tell the story with well, what would you do? Because, my uncle was a great professor at MIT for 41 years, I think. He's the longest serving Dr. John Trump, she knows. He was great, very smart. We have a very smart family, actually. But he was a great guy, and I was very interested in this, but the press kills me all the time. They say, he keeps talking about sharks and this. I don't. I tell an analogy. If I'm in a boat, it's all electric, and it starts to sink. I asked the guy, do you get electrocuted sitting over this? And then I say, and I don't think there's anything wrong with this, do you? Because it's an analogy. I say, and if there's a shark about 10 yards away, right where they are, right where all the congressmen are, right over there, look at us. Well, they're sharks. They're sharks. If there's a shark about 10 yards away, do I get electrocuted or do I go with the shark? I said, because I will take electrocution all day long. Despite the environmentalists that say how wonderful sharks are. You ever hear these people? We had 3 killings by a shark this weekend, ripped people apart, and then you have the environmentalists going, well, they didn't mean to do it. They mistook them for a seal. They didn't want to hurt the child. No, I don't want that. Common sense, right? I mean, how about they catch a shark, vicious that they've been after, and they take him to a little deeper water and they put him back in? I wouldn't do that. Would anybody do that here? Let me ask you, this is Michigan. These guys wouldn't do it. But they always get on me. They say, why is he talking about electricity and sharks? What are they? Well, they know exactly. It's sort of a cute little story. Do I take electrocution or do I take death by a shark? And I'll always take electrocution. But isn't it ridiculous? Think of it. Isn't it ridiculous? They want to make a boat, that's far too heavy, that can barely float. And they're driving people out of business. They're destroying this country. They're stupidly destroying this country. The Army tanks are the other one. They want to make all electric. We make the best tanks in the world. They want to have them. So that as we go into a country to bomb the hell out of it, we will do it in an environmentally friendly way. And you know, with an Army tank, again, the battery is very big, very heavy, and doesn't last long. You know what it is? It's an Army tank, and it's like you're pulling a wagon behind the Army tank. You're pulling a wagon like a child pulls a wagon, and it's loaded up with a battery. So we got to get back to common sense. The aircraft, too. They want to make our jet fighters a biofuel jet fighter that shows 18% less efficiency. That's the difference between winning and losing a fight. And you know what happens? I say, I'm not doing it. And we ended all of that stuff. They brought it back. We will end it on day one. We're not going to be doing that stuff, okay? In 4 short years under my leadership, I did more for Michigan auto workers and manufacturers than any president in the history of our country. And just as I promised, I withdrew from the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which would have totally destroyed your auto industry. I ended the disaster known as NAFTA. That was the worst trade deal ever made. That was the worst trade deal considered by him. That was so unfair to us with Mexico and Canada, the worst trade deal ever made, and replaced it with what they call the best trade deal ever made, the USMCA, Mexico and Canada. And I know it's good because Mexico and Canada are right now, as we speak, working like hell to try and renegotiate the deal. Don't do it, Biden. Well, he doesn't know what's going on. Don't do it. He's watching us now. He'll say, what's that trade deal they're talking about? Well, sir, they've been negotiating with us for about 2 years. I never heard of that negotiation. Where is Mexico anyway? Where is it? See, now the fake news will take the statement I just say, where is Mexico? And they'll put it on television. Trump didn't know where Mexico is. Oh, they do. They do. It's very dangerous. The biggest threat I have to my administration is sarcasm, because they play it against me. When I show that he can't walk off, he can never find the entrances off a stage, like one here, one there, 2 here. You could jump off the front, I guess. And whenever I imitate him, I called my wife. She's great. Our wife, she's great. Our great First Lady. I said, and she looked great the other night. She made that entrance. She made a lot of entrances. She's just something. But she walked in, but I told her the other night, I said, how good was I? How good? This was at a rally a couple of weeks ago. How good was I? Well, you were really good, but not great. Why? Well, it showed that you didn't know how to get off the stage. Well, I was imitating Biden. So what they do is they show the imitation of Biden. They said Trump didn't know how to get off the stage. That's our fake news. So we have to be very careful. So I haven't done it in about 3 weeks. I'll do it again, but maybe not right now. It's too... Darling, you were great. I mean, I get these crowds, 50, 60, 70,000. In New Jersey, we're leading New Jersey by 4 points, by the way. We're leading Michigan by 6 points. Right. And a report just came out. Actually, we're leading everywhere and nationally, and we have to keep it that way. Got to make sure they don't cheat. Got to make sure they don't cheat. I took on China like no administration in history, bringing hundreds of billions of dollars pouring into our treasury when no other president had gotten 10 cents. You know, China never gave us 10 cents. I got hundreds of billions of dollars from China. And I got along very well with President Xi. He's a great guy. He wrote me a beautiful note the other day when he heard about what happened. And he wrote me a beautiful, most of the leaders do. You know, a lot of them didn't like what I was doing to them, but they also knew it was about time. The jig was up, right? It was about time. But they wrote me, almost all of them wrote me notes. It was nice. Now I have a good relationship with all of them. That's a good thing. You know, a lot of times the press would say, he gets along with Kim Jong-un, North Korea. He has a lot of nuclear weapons. I got along with him great. You were never in danger with me as your president. It's a good thing to get along, not a bad thing. I used to tell him, why don't you do something else? All he wants to do is buy nuclear weapons and make them. I said, just relax, chill. You got enough. You got so much nuclear weapons, so much. I said, just relax. Go to let's go to a baseball game. I'll show you what a baseball. We'll go watch the Yankees, or we'll come watch Michigan at its home opener. Okay, how about that? Are you going to have a good team this year, I think, right? Pretty good. I heard good. I heard good, but who the hell knows, right? Guy drops a pass, that's the end of that season. It's a risky business. I proudly imposed a 27.5 tariff on all Chinese auto imports to keep China and Chinese cars, keep them out of America. You don't sell a lot of Chinese cars in here because of what, and if you did, it'd be fewer cars that you made. We're going to bring back the auto industry we're going to bring it back. We're going to have them. If they want to come in and sell us cars, they can, but they have to build plants here, and they have to hire our workers, and that's fine, and nobody can say anything about it. Under the radical Democrat policies, the U.S. auto industry is being decimated. You know, we lost 64% of our industry over the years, 64%. We were a giant. And now a lot of them made in Mexico. Mexico's taken 35% of the auto industry. And we did something very strong. We did something very strong with Mexico. But, you know, when I was building the wall, I said, you have to give us 28,000 soldiers. And they laughed at me. I hate when people laugh at me. I hate it. I hate it. No, it's so disrespectful. They laughed at me. We won't do that. Why would we do that? I said, because you have to. We're building the wall. People are flowing in through your country. We want 28,000 soldiers to protect us while we're building the wall. They said, no, no, no. And then they said, after I said, look, here's the story. If you don't do it, we're going to charge you a 25% tariff on every car that you send into America. And then it's going to 50% next month. Then it's going to 75%. And then it's going to 100%, and then I'll stop. And the gentleman representing the president's a great guy. He's no longer president, but he's a great guy. He was a great guy, still is. But he said, I'd like to discuss this with the president. I said, 5 minutes, I got to go. I have something much more important to do. And he came back. He said, Mr. President, we would love to give you soldiers to protect your wall, free of charge, of course. That's how I got those great numbers on that beautiful, beautiful graph that we talk about. They gave us everything I wanted. I got everything from Mexico, and then this stupid person, low IQ, he's a low IQ individual. Take his IQ. I guarantee you it's in the low 50s or 60s. And he's negotiating against Putin, President Xi of China, Macron of France, very smart guy. I told him he was going to do something very bad to our country. I said, that's okay, you can do it, but I'm going to put a 100% tariff on all wines and champagnes that come in from France. He said, no, 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 Donald, you cannot do that. I said, I'm doing it. Donald, you cannot do that. That's not fair. He's going to charge our companies, American companies, 25% for doing nothing, for being in France. Big deal, right? Big deal. So I said, okay, that's all right. I'm charging you 100% tariff. I gave it to all my people, Minuchin. They won't do it. They won't budge. I said, they'll budge. I called them up. And I talked to the president of France, Emmanuel Macron. He's a nice guy. I said, but he's, you know, he likes France. I like the USA. Does that make sense? I said, Emmanuel, it's so nice to talk to you. I understand you're going to charge our companies 25%, Emmanuel. Yes, 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 Donald. It was approved by whoever the hell approves the parliament. Whatever the hell they have over there, they were going to approve it. It's been fully approved. Yes, I'm so sorry. I said, well, that's okay. You can add approve, but here's the story. Starting tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock, every bottle of wine and every bottle of champagne that's shipped into the United States is going to have a 100% tariff on it. No, 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 you cannot do that. That is not fair. I said, not fair for you to charge our companies 25%. He said, you cannot do it. I said, I'm signing the papers now. I will call you right back. Calls me back. Donald, we would be delighted, Mr. President, to take that tax off. We have decided to take it off. It'll be off by tonight, sir. It'll be off by tonight. And it was off. And it was off. You think Joe Biden does that? He doesn't know what the hell he's doing. Their policies are no good. Remember, whether it's Biden or anybody else, they want open borders. They want all the same stuff. So it's like, you know, but he's in particular, he's pretty bad, I tell you. Can you imagine these killers, these are sharp. You know, the press gets angry. They said, is President Xi of China, is he a smart man? I said, no, he's a brilliant man. He controls 1.4 billion people with an iron fist. He makes guys like Biden look like babies. They don't even know whether they're coming or going. Yes, he's, the next day headline, Trump calls him brilliant. How dare. No, okay. Let's say he's not a smart man. Okay, whatever makes you happy. No matter what you do. No matter what you do. I say, he's a brilliant man. They went crazy because I called him brilliant. So I'm just going to have to say, he's okay. He's okay. No, he's very smart. But, and you know what else? He's a fierce person. Do you understand that? Some of the people here know that, what this means, especially some of the women, right? They know better than the men about fierce. I know the women, they know better than the men. They're more fierce than the men. Oh, her. But no, he's a fierce individual. He's a fierce man. Can you imagine when he meets this guy? He thinks Trump is playing a joke on him. He actually thinks there's some kind of that I'm playing a joke. He doesn't believe what happened. He doesn't believe the last election. He thinks I'm playing a joke on him. But can you imagine President Xi, Putin, all of them? They're all smart, tough. They love their country, or they want to do well with their country, whatever it is, all ideology. But we have to have somebody that can protect us. And Orban was right. We have to have somebody that can protect us. Right now, we have really low IQ people in there. And the president in particular, he has about a 70 IQ, and he's going against 210, and it never works out. It never works out. When I'm back in the White House, the way they will sell their product in America is to build it in America. They have to build it in America, and they have to use you people to build it. Thank you very much. It's very simple. We will build American, buy American. We're going to hire American. We're going to get it going. We're going to get the auto industry back. It's ridiculous. I will revoke China's most favored nations trade. You know, they have a most favored nations trade status. They've had it for years. We had it revoked, and then we had that stupid election, that ridiculous election that everybody knows was ridiculous. But I will revoke it. They have a trade where basically they're saying we're just beginning. They're not just beginning. They're teaching our people too much. I will pass the Trump Reciprocal Trade Act, meaning if China charges us a 100 or 200% tariff or tax, we will charge them a 200% tax. Very simple. It's called reciprocal. They charge, we charge. It sort of says, I shouldn't say this, because, you know, Franklin Graham, I told the story the other night, Franklin Graham, he's such a wonderful guy. Billy Graham was his father, the greatest. My father used to take me to Yankee Stadium to watch Billy Graham. The place was packed, and he would get up and he would rant and rave, and you left there and you believed that it was God, in fact, that helped me last week. You would believe it if you listened to Billy Graham. And Franklin Graham is right, probably, but he wrote me a beautiful letter. He says, President Trump, I watch your speeches and your rallies all the time. I love your storytelling. There's nobody that can do it like you, but please, you're hurting yourself very badly. Don't use foul language. It made me feel bad, actually, because I don't use much. I don't use much, and if it is foul, it's not really foul. You know, there's really foul, and then there's a little off. Like some people they don't like the word hell. That's a bad word. You know, I mean, that's not good. Or the word bullshit they don't like, so I won't use it. No, it's true, but it's more descriptive. There's just no word to sort of. But he said, so please, so I've been really good, and for the last 4 or 5 times I've really been good, but you know, you lose a little something. But reciprocal trade, it basically means you screw us and we'll screw you. It's very simple. And I can't describe it. And I don't think it's foul, but he's probably right. To further protect Michigan auto workers, I will end the Biden-Harris electric vehicle mandate on day 1. It's going to end on day 1. And I will immediately terminate the Green New scam, and we're going to use that money to build roads and highways and bridges. Under Biden and the radical left Democrats, inflation is wiping out our middle class. Groceries are up 57%. Gasoline is up 69%. Mortgage rates have quadrupled. They've gone up 3, 4, 5 times. And they never include that in their stats, you know. They never include those things. They never include mortgage rates. And you can't get the money anyway, so what really is the number? And since Democrats took over, total household costs have increased by an average of $28,000 per family. Think of that. Under my leadership, we will throw out Bidenomics, and we will replace it very simply with Maganomics. Maganomics. You know, I have to just interject. If you would turn off those cameras, because I don't want this. See the screen up there of me? That's very severe, that comb over. That's a severe sucker. What's with that one? It looks okay from the other side. But that is very severe. I apologize. Man, I looked up there. I said, whoa. Look at that. Wow. That's like a work of art. Only look at that one. Don't look. That one looks. To bring down the prices of all goods, we will end the Biden-Harris war on American energy, and we will drill, baby, drill. We're going to start that day 1. Under the Trump administration, we had energy independence, and soon we will have energy dominant. We will be more dominant than any country by far, and we were. Just 4 years ago, we started off at number 4, we got to number 3, and then we had to beat Russia. We beat them. Then we had to beat Saudi Arabia. We beat them, and we were like a rocket ship, and then we had this idiotic result. But we will be, and again, we have more. You know, Anwar in Alaska, it's probably the biggest find anywhere in the world. The size of Saudi Arabia, some people say, who knows what it is, but it's massive. Ronald Reagan tried to get it, couldn't get it, and that was easier in those days environmentally. They stopped it with the environment. You know, the environment is very important to me, and environmental is very important, but, you know, you can't use it to destroy a country. And they stopped it. They stopped it for years based on the environment. I got it approved. It was totally done. This is since Ronald Reagan, who worked so hard to get Anwar, he wanted to be able to drill in Alaska. Think of it as the size of Saudi Arabia, approximately, bigger than Texas, bigger than everything. We would have had something that nobody else even comes close to. And on the first week in office, his Department of the Interior person, who was just put in Department of Interior, she outlawed it. She said, we're not going to use it. Stopped all work. They were ready to start drilling. It took them a while to get ready. They're ready to start drilling. The money would have been incredible. The prices were very high. We're the only country that stops drilling when the prices are at an all-time high. And we stopped drilling, but we'll get that back, and I'll get it back very fast. But Anwar, they cut it. Unbelievable. And I will cut taxes even further than we did before, and that includes no tax on tips, right? No tax on tips. All that government does is harass everybody over it anyway. It's like a big harassment operation. They hired 88,000 IRS people to go harass everybody. So if you work in a restaurant, if you drive a cab, or if you do anything having to do with tips, I hope you're going to remember, bartenders, let's see, hospitality workers, a caddy, a barber. Barbers get tips. I don't give mine a big tip because I don't think they do a very good job. If you're a mover, a driver, or anyone else who relies on tips, the money is going to be 100% yours. You better go vote. If that doesn't get you out, if that doesn't get you off your ass to go out and vote for Trump, nothing will. Got to do it. Right? Got to do it. And as we rescue our economy, I will also restore the sacred and sovereign borders of a place called the United States of America, right? United States of America. With Democrats in charge, the greatest invasion in history is taking place right now. This is an invasion of our country. You remember during the time I was trying to get the wall, and I was getting all sorts of assurances, and you couldn't get it from Congress. It was incredible. So I did get a lot of money for the military. So I put an extra $10 billion. I put a little fund, an extra $10 billion. I then called it an invasion of our country, and I took it out of the military, and I got it built. And now we're going to build it larger. We have to close up the areas that weren't built. We have certain areas where we needed to have them open for a little while for getting all of our stuff back. I don't like leaving brand new bulldozers and everything on the other side of the border, right? We want to close it up. But we had certain areas we had to close up. And when they took over, they said, we're not going to close it. I said, these guys actually do. I thought they were kidding. I thought they were not being serious. Who would want an open border? Who would want an open border where people come in from prisons and jails and mental institutions? Either people that don't love our country, stupid people. They're not stupid because anybody that can cheat that well in an election's not stupid. Or maybe a new thing's emerging where they want to get people to vote illegally, and they don't care. They have no shame. And we're watching that. Our chairman is here. The Republican chairman is here, the whole thing. See? The big boss is here in Michigan, so you're going to remember that. But we're working on that, but they do. They're trying to sign people up who just came in, who have no idea where they are, what they're doing. They came in. And in many cases, they're very rough people, but they came in. They're trying to sign them up to vote. This is what they'll do. Because think of it. If they have open borders, if they have men playing in women's sports, if they have a raise in, they're going to raise your taxes by four times. 4 times. Think of it. What you're paying now, you're going to pay 4 times more. With policy like this, nobody can get elected. The only way you can get elected is to cheat. And they are really good at it. That's the only thing they're good at. That's the only thing they focus on. They have no good policies. They don't do anything well. But they're using these people, and they're trying to sign up the people. And we've caught them, and we sue, and we do all the things that you have to do. But they have no shame whatsoever. So that's really one of the big reasons I think they're allowing it, because they're not stupid enough to allow prisoners and people from mental institutions, people from insane asylums, and it drives them crazy. Hannibal Lecter, the late, great Hannibal Lecter, would like to have you for dinner. He wants you for dinner. That's the end of you, by the way. But no, these people are being dumped into our country, and nothing good is going to happen from it. That's why we have to do a big deportation and get them the hell out, okay? We have no chance. Meanwhile, our crime rate is going up while crime statistics all over the world are plunging. We have become a dumping ground for the world, which is laughing at us. They can't believe how stupid we are, how stupid we are. We're destroying our country. They can't believe what they're getting away with, but they're getting away with it at levels that they never thought possible. In Venezuela, crime is down 72%. You know, Caracas, Venezuela, was a very, very dangerous place. And now, because of the great job they've done in removing their criminals into the United States, next year we're going to have our Michigan rally in Caracas, Venezuela, because it's nice and safe. Okay? Does that sound like a good idea to you? Because we want safety. Now, the press is going to write that. They're going to say, Donald Trump proposed next year's Michigan rally in Caracas, Venezuela. They'll say, isn't that horrible? Isn't that unpatriotic? You understand. This is what I have to go with. I'm only kidding, press. I'm only kidding. Although maybe it's not a bad idea. So El Salvador is an interesting one because I know the president. He's a young guy, and he's been getting this great press that his crime rate's way down, and they're training their criminals. Well, you don't train criminals, okay? You know, maybe every once in a while you get lucky, but you don't. So in El Salvador, murders are down 70%. He's saying, yes, we're teaching. He's different. Most of them just say, well, the United States is stupid, so we're dumping all our criminals there. He does it differently, smart. He goes, we're working with our people that are causing problems and crime. And he's not working with them. He's dumping them in the United States. And their crime rate, their murder rate is down 72%, 73%, and going up. And I don't blame them, because if I was running one of those countries, and we're not just talking in South America, but if I were running one of those countries, I would have been doing it much more. They're also emptying their jails. The big thing is their jails. Those jails were packed. Now all of a sudden it's like, oh, isn't this wonderful? They're doing such a wonderful job. They're dumping their criminals into the United States of America, and we're not going to take it anymore. Stupid people. You're not going to teach a criminal not to be a criminal. Not going to happen. And you don't have the time, you don't have the energy, because you have to do other things. That is why, as soon as I take the oath of office, we will begin the largest deportation operation in the history of our country, even larger than that of President Dwight D. Eisenhower many years ago. He was a big deportation person. Under the radical left Democrats, Michigan communities are being overrun with migrant crime. You know that better than anybody, right? Does everybody agree? It's being unbelievable. In Oakland County, criminal squads of illegal alien gang members are hiding in the trees and breaking into Michigan homes after dark, looting them for jewelry, purses. They're taking the women's purses right out of their bedrooms. Electronics, cash, they're stealing, they're robbing the houses. Earlier this year in Kent County. Does anybody live in Kent County here? Sounds good to me, but you're not going to like this. A sadistic illegal alien, of which there are many criminals, was sentenced for executing a 22-year-old Grand Rapids woman while she was in her car with her 1-year-old baby, shooting her at least 5 times with a rifle at point-blank range, while the killer was wanted on an outstanding warrant for attempted strangulation of another woman. When I return to the White House, we will stop the plunder, rape, slaughter, and destruction of our American suburbs, cities, and towns. We will shut down deadly sanctuary cities. We're not going to have them anymore. And we will shift massive portions of federal law enforcement to immigration enforcement. We're going to get the bad ones out. We're going to get them out immediately. It's not going to take long. We're going to rely on law enforcement, and we're going to give law enforcement back their dignity, respect, and power so they're allowed to protect you. It's no wonder Joe Biden and his thugs are so desperate to stop us. They know that we are the only ones who can stop them. We're the only ones. You know, we talk about Biden like he's a feeble old guy, and he is. But it's the people that surround him. I mean, he's perfect for them. This is the fascists and communists and some bad people surround him. I know just about all of them. I can tell you about all of them. Did you hear about our big victory in Florida last week? Did you hear? We won the big case. We're going to take down Trump. We're going to take down Trump. No, when you have a great court system, when you have honorable judges, people that really love the country, good things can happen. But we won that case in its entirety. That was the one. That's going to take them down. They've been saying that for, 8 years now, right? And here we are leading in every poll. We got to get it close. You got it close. You got it close. We don't want to talk too much. I always say, if we win, because I don't like saying when we win, because they cheat like hell. So if we win, but we got to get it close. We're close. 4 months, but you know what 4 months is in this racket? Like an eternity. 4 months is like an eternity, but we're leading by a lot, not just by a little. We're leading every state, every important swing state by a lot, and we're leading nationally by a lot, but we got to get it close. The radical left Democrats rigged the presidential election in 2020, and we're not going to allow them to rig the presidential election in 2024. We're not going to allow it. Every time the radical left Democrats, Marxists, communists, and fascists indict me, I consider it a great badge of honor. You know, I've been indicted more than the legendary Alphonse Capone, Scarface. He was a tough man. See that guy right there? Ultra MAGA. You're Ultra MAGA. He's tough as hell. But if Alphonse didn't like you, you would be in the foundation of a building rising someplace in your great state, right? He was not. He was a tough cookie, this guy. I got indicted more than Alphonse Capone. Think of it. My parents are looking down. I had wonderful parents. They never saw this for me. They never saw, let's see, I'm voting for, oh, I don't want to even read that one. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. But I'm being indicted for you. Don't worry about these fake indictments. These aren't indictments. These are Biden indictments. These are a sick, weak, pathetic man who can't run an election. So he indicts his opponent thinking that's going to win. And in many cases it would. You know, third world countries do this a lot. Banana republics do it a lot. We've never done it. And we're going to teach them why they can never do it again. Because it's actually hard to believe. It's actually driven our poll numbers way up. And then we had the debate. Did anybody watch the debate? Poll. Who won the debate? Biden or Trump? Poll, free poll. I just saved $300,000. Isn't it something these pollsters, I have Tony Fabrizio and McLaughlin back there. I got to be careful. But I just saved $300,000 doing that poll. They interview 97 people have been interviewed. And Trump is leading by a little smidgen. I got 25,000 people here or something. They got so many people outside. I wish we could include them. I'd love to get them in. Would anybody like to leave now and let the other people come? That's not nice. Never forget, our enemies want to take away my freedom because I will never let them take away your freedom. They want to silence me because I will never let them silence you. And in the end, they're not after me, they're after you. I just happen to be standing in their way, and I always will. Right? I always will, fellas. So we have some exciting news today because we're pleased to be joined by many outstanding Michigan patriots. They are, I know every one of them, including your next U.S. Senator from Michigan, Mike Rogers. And Mike, is just as adamant as me. He'll vote to stop the invasion, end inflation, halt the outsourcing of Michigan jobs, and bring back the auto industry. You are going to double or triple your auto industry within the next 3 years under Trump. Mark it down. Mark it down. Because we're not taking their cars. We want them to build the cars here, using you people to build them. Also with us is another good man who is running for Michigan Senate seat, Sandy Pensler. Do you know Sandy? So I have a big announcement to make then. Sandy has just announced that he would like to do something very important tonight. So you have Mike, who's a total pro, Sandy, who's a total pro. I'd like to ask both of them to come on up, and I'd like to have Sandy make a statement first. Thank you. Come on up, fellas.
Thank you, Mr. President. I was so inspired when President Trump kissed the empty uniform of Corey Compatore. I flashed back immediately to a couple days after 9/11 at the local firehouse where I hugged the lone remaining survivor and looked out at 12 empty uniforms. Thank you for honoring all of them as well. My campaign was always about making America better. The best way to do that is to enact President Trump's policies. Let's go, Trump! Let's go, Trump! To do that, we need control of the Senate. A divisive, continued primary effort hurts the chances of that, and that's not okay. So tonight, I'm doing the right thing and ceasing my Senate candidacy. No, it's not an aha, it's the right thing. President Trump endorsed Mike Rogers. Tonight, so am I. Mike's gonna make a heck of a senator. So I want you guys to look around the room tonight, because everything goes through Michigan. The presidency, the Senate, the House, and the State House. Look around, make a pledge to each other. We're gonna fight like hell to save America and elect Donald Trump, Mike Rogers, and the rest of the ticket on the Republican Party. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy. I am honored to have you stand with us and all Republicans to win the state of Michigan. Thank you for your courage. Thank you for your leadership. You're going to be an important voice going forward in our party in Michigan. And Mr. President, I want to say this, as a former law enforcement guy, it wasn't that the bullet took you to the ground. It was the fact that you got back up for America. You bet. I have spent my career working to protect America as an Army officer, as an FBI agent working organized crime in Chicago, as the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee. I have never seen a more unsafe America because of the Democrats over the last 4 years. Here's the good news, Mr. President. You will have a partner in the United States Senate that will bring manufacturing back to Michigan. We are the arsenal of democracy. We will be again in this great state. And I'll pledge to you, I will get Department of Justice reoriented to actually going after criminals. We are going to dismantle fentanyl distribution from here to the steppes of China, and we're going to tell China, you sell in the United States, you'll have a price to pay. Mr. President, I'll guarantee you this as well. With your leadership, winning the state of Michigan, winning for the United States, putting America back in Washington, D.C. versus Washington, D.C. and the rest of America, we will make America respected again. We will bring back law and order again. We will make America safe again. Let's flip the Senate. Let's elect Donald J. Trump and Mike Rogers to the Senate, and let's get busy. Thanks, Mr. President.
We're unifying the party, and that was beautiful to watch. Thank you, Sandy and Mike. And Mike, good luck. You're running against somebody that's such a bad senator. You don't even, I was there for 4 years plus. I don't even remember meeting that particular person. This is not a senator for Michigan. Mike Rogers is going to be a great senator. He's got gravitas. He really knows his way, highly respected in Washington. And I think, I mean, it should be an easy race. Nothing's easy, but it should be an easy race. So good luck, good luck. And thank you very much, Sandy, Mike. We're also joined by members of Congress and they're great people, friends of mine, warriors. Jack Bergman. Jack? Thank you, Jack. Great job. A real friend of mine, somebody I was very much in favor of right at the beginning, John James. Thank you, John. A warrior, somebody who helped me through a lot of different things. He gets things done. Bill Heisinger. Bill, thank you, Bill. Thank you very much. And another one. These are all great people. Tim Wahlberg, thank you for everything you've done, Tim. You've been unbelievable. Always there for me, right? Always there. And a man from a slightly different location, a little bit down. You're not going to get there with an electric car, but unless you want to stop a few times. But he comes from a state known as Florida, a great place, and he's so respected. He's such an incredible man. Brian Mast. Brian. Thank you. Thank you, Brian. Brian. Thank you, Brian. What a guy he is. He's a warrior. He's a real warrior. Thank you, Brian. Michigan House Republican leader, Matt Hall. Thank you, Matt. Good job you're doing, Matt. Are we going to win, Matt? Will you please make sure? We need these local ones, right? That's right. Michigan Senate Republican leader, Eric Nesbitt. Thank you, Eric. Great. Thank you. Good job. A congressional candidate who I hear is doing very well, Tom Barrett. Tom, get in there and win. Good. A friend of mine who was really brave, ran a tough race. It's amazing, actually. Really did well. Her father was a very special guy who was in the steel industry, and he passed away. A battle with cancer, a long-time battle, but he was fantastic. And I got to know them both very well. She's a terrific woman. Tudor Dixon. Thank you, Tudor. Ambassador Joe Sella. Thank you, Joe. Good job you're doing, Joe. Very important person in this room, Michigan GOP Chairman. Where are you? Okay. Pete Hoekstra. Oh, there he is. I fought like hell for him to take that job, right, Pete? I said, Pete, you got to do it. How are we doing, Pete? How are we doing? Huh? We're doing good. If you're in charge, he's going to win. He was a congressman, a really good one, respected. He left. I made him ambassador. He was a great ambassador. And I then said, Pete, you got to do it. He lives here. I said, you got to do it. And we appreciate you doing it. Both of you, thank you very much. We appreciate it very much. RNC chairman, he put on that show with a person named Lara Trump. How good is she? How good is she? She's unbelievable. She made a great speech. And her husband made a very good speech the other night, didn't he? Eric and Don. I don't want to talk about anyone else, only my kids, you know. But they all did well. Everybody did well, honestly. I do think Hulk Hogan, I thought he was incredible. I hadn't seen him in a while. And I'll tell you what, I'm not going to mess with him, right? We're not going to mess with the Hulkster. But he was fantastic the other night. All of them, every single one. My granddaughter did very well. Look, she's scarred. What about, who said that? Who said my granddaughter? Wow. Kai. Kai is great. Great golfer. She's a great golfer. But we have another man who's very important, and the RNC chairman, Michael Watley, who's been incredible, wherever Michael is. Mike, thank you, Mike. Great job. I said, Michael, you have one job. We got so many votes, we don't know what to do with them. You got to guard the vote. When those votes get put in, they can't be missing. They can't throw them out. They can't stuff ballot boxes. They can't cheat. Make sure. And, you know, he headed up North Carolina. And on that night, a while ago, that certain election night, that miserable where we thought it was won at 10 o'clock in the evening, and then all of a sudden, additional votes have been reported in various places. We don't have to get into it. North Carolina held totally steady. He had 603 lawyers working. Other people didn't have lawyers working. And bad things happened, but this guy held, and I said, that's the guy I want to run the party. And Michael, I know you're doing a great job, and you're going to do something very special. We don't need votes. We need to guard the vote. You ever hear the expression, too big to rig? The more we get in there, the harder it is for them. My daughter and her husband, Tiffany and Michael, where are you? Tiffany and Michael, you're around here someplace. Two great people. Fairly recently, thank you, Tiff. Great people. And Michael's father's here tonight, highly respected guy, great businessman, and a highly respected guy. From the moment we take back the White House from crooked Joe Biden and Kamala, I call her Laughing Kamala. You ever watch her laugh? She's crazy. You know, you can tell a lot by a laugh. No, she's crazy. She's nuts. She's not as crazy as Nancy Pelosi. Crazy Nancy. Did you see Nancy Pelosi is selling out Biden now? Did you see? She turned on him like a dog. Well, I don't know if he should continue. All of a sudden, where did that come from? She was 100%. All of a sudden, she's not sure. Not sure means he's gone. But no, she's crazy as a bedbug. She's a crazy person. I believe we're going to have the 4 greatest years of the history of our country. I believe that. And I believe that Michigan is going to have the greatest of all of any of the states, because I'm going to bring back your auto industry. I'm not going to take this. You know, in Mexico, they're building among the largest plants for auto manufacturing anywhere in the world. In Mexico, near the border, they think that they're going to make cars and sell them into the United States and lose all our jobs. It's not happening. And you know who owns those plants? China! China owns them. And we're not letting it happen. We'll put 200% tariffs on, 400, I don't care what would. Whoever is building your plants, we're not allowing any of those cars to come into the United States, okay? We're telling that to Mexico right now. You want to build those plants? A friend of mine who builds plants, that's all he can do. He's a great guy, but his strength is plants. If you say walk across the street, he's not that good at it. But to build a plant, he has no problem. He builds a great auto plant. So I said, I'd like to see one. Take me. He goes, well, we'll have to go to Mexico. I said, what about the United States? No, not so much. He goes, there are actually some of the biggest in the world being built right now in Mexico. I said, this happened over the last couple of years with this stupid president that we have. Stupid. He's a stupid person. And I can say it because, once he weaponized justice, I would never talk about a president like that. Once he weaponized justice against me, I said, oh, wow, that's really incredible. That's never been done before. I can do it. And I'm knocking him out. But sometimes you have crooked judges. We have some real crooked judges, too. That's the only way. The only way I can lose is crooked judges, but we'll get it overturned, anything that happens. But once he weaponized, I wouldn't talk that way. In fact, before this happened, before he did this, I treated him not nicely, but I treated him with far more respect than I do right now. It's one of those things. But we can't let these companies come in and steal our wealth, steal our jobs, destroy our companies, and end up building it 10 miles across the border and think we're going to allow them to get away with it. We're not. They have to build it over here, and they have to use our people. So and it's going to happen. And Michigan will benefit more than any state in the union because they stole your auto industry, and we're going to bring it back, and it's going to be at a level that it was in its height. Okay? You hear that, John James? You hear that? We're going to put John James in charge. And the amazing thing, it's not even hard to do. It's not even hard. It's so crazy. If you want to build something in China, you're building it here and you send it over there. We don't want it. They'll charge you like 250% tariff. We don't want it. Then you get an invite. Build your plant over here. So these companies, they go over there. Harley-Davidson did it in India. They couldn't sell. They had a 200% tariff on motorbikes. I had them in the office in the White House, the Oval Office, and the head of Harley-Davidson. I was disappointed in that, actually. We were talking about it. I was telling them the problems, and I was going to help them out. But I said, how are you doing in India? No good. Why? We have a 200% tariff. In other words, if we sell a bike, they have like this massive tariff. And I said, well, if you have a 200% tariff, that means you're not going to be able to sell any. But they invited them over to build a plant, and Harley-Davidson went, and I guess they're building the plant or built it or something. But that's what they do. I don't blame India. I blame us for allowing it to happen. It's not going to happen anymore. I had it stopped, and then we had the COVID fight. We had to fight COVID. We did a great job. We never got the credit. We got credit for military. We got credit for everything. I defeated ISIS. We did unbelievable things. Unbelievable. We got the biggest tax cut in history, the biggest regulation cuts in history. When I go to the companies, the big companies, highly sophisticated, I said, so I got you the biggest tax cuts in history, and that was good for jobs. And I got you the biggest regulation cuts in history, and that was good for jobs. If you could only have one, would you take the regulation cuts or the tax cuts? Every single person, and I must have asked the question 200 times over the years, said the regulation cuts were more important than the tax cuts. Can you believe it? You wouldn't think that. But we got you the biggest regulation cuts in history. Before I even arrive at the Oval Office, shortly after we win the presidency, we win. We're going to all win it together. I will have the horrible war between Russia and Ukraine settled. And I will be the only one that can make this statement. I will prevent World War III from happening. You're very close to World War III. If I was president, the Afghanistan disaster, which probably caused Putin to go in, by the way, he wouldn't have gone in with me. He would have never gone in with me. And he didn't. And by the way, he didn't. But the Afghanistan disaster, not the fact we're getting out. I was getting out. After 21 years, you get the hell out. But I would have kept Bagram. It's 1 hour away from where China makes its nuclear weapons. we gave it to them so stupidly. It's one of the biggest airfields in the world. We built it many years ago for billions of dollars. We were going to keep that. We were going to man it, keep it. Think of it, 1 hour away. You know who has it now? China has it now. How stupid are we? Should have kept that. And you know the lift? The lift should have been done at Bagram, not their little local airport where they had riots all over the place and then the bombs started going, killing 13 of our great people. Obliterating, I heard the number this morning, 47. That's maybe the right number because we're looking at 47, you know that, right? Obliterated 47 great young Americans, their legs gone, their arms gone, their face just wiped out. And hundreds of people besides, hundreds of people. The worst catastrophe, the worst, most embarrassing disaster, I think, ever that happened ever in this country. And because of that, I think Putin looked at that, the incompetence, the stupidness of Milley and these guys that don't know what the hell they're doing. And he looked at it and he said, this is a great time to go into Ukraine. But he would have never done it with me. If I was president, the Afghan disaster would have never happened. Ukraine would have never happened. And October 7th, the attack on Israel would have never happened. Remember, Iran was broke. Iran had no money. They were broke. Now they have $250 billion. But we'll get along with Iran. We'll get along with whoever we have to get along with, but it would have never happened. All of the things, and you know what wouldn't have happened? Inflation wouldn't have happened because I had energy low. Inflation was caused by energy going up twice. I will restore a thing called peace through strength. That's what we have. Remember, I'm the only president in 80 years that I started no new wars. I finished some. Totally defeated the ISIS caliphate. In my next term, we will build a great Iron Dome missile defense shield over our country, a dome the likes of which has not been seen. And it will be entirely built in the USA, and much of it will be built right here in Michigan. Why shouldn't we have the same protection that other countries have, Bill? Why shouldn't we have the same protection that Israel has and that other countries have? And Ronald Reagan wanted to do this many years ago, but honestly, we didn't have the technology. Now we do. 301 missiles were shot at Israel, and almost every one of them was knocked out of the sky. It's an unbelievable technology. And it's our technology, and we're going to use it for our country, and we're going to be a lot safer than not having it. The Iron Dome, we're going to build the great Iron Dome, the latest and the greatest, and much is going to be made right here in Michigan, as you can imagine. And we will not cut one penny from Social Security or Medicare. And they are really, you know, they want to raise the retirement age. Biden wants to raise the retirement age and they're going to. You know why? All of these immigrants coming in, they're trying to put them onto Medicare and Social Security. So not only do they want them to vote, they want to destroy Social Security and Medicare. It's not going to happen, and we're not raising your age. One day, he's going to destroy. First of all, he doesn't have any idea what the hell he's doing. But I kept that promise 4 years ago. Remember, they said, he'll come in and raise Social Security. I went through 4 years. It was never even a topic that was allowed to be discussed. Because we have, between the liquid gold under our feet and all of the other things and the growth mechanism that we have in this country, we don't have to cut Social Security, which people have earned, and we're never going to cut it. And when you hear that stupid guy, that low IQ guy, get up and say, I inherited 9% inflation. False. He inherited 1.4, but really nothing. And when he says, he's going to raise Social Security, no, false. He's going to raise it because he's stupid. That's why he's going to raise it. Don't believe it. They have this line where it goes one after the other. But one thing, it's very simple. They're going to raise your taxes 4 times, and that's there because they don't want to renew the tax cuts that I gave. It's approximately a 4 times increase, and they don't want to renew them. But you can't believe these people when they get up. Biden and I watched Camilla the other day, brilliantly put on Fox. I don't know why Fox does it. Please, Fox, will you please get smart? Will you please get smart? And she's ranting, right? He is going to destroy Social Security. He's going to destroy Medicare. He's going to destroy this. I mean, just made up, it's just sound bites, it's disinformation. That's the other thing they're good at. They say anything they want to say. I am going to protect your Social Security. We're not going to be raising the number of years. We're not going to raise it by 1 day, let alone 1 year or 5 years or 10 years like some stupid people want to do. We're going to grow our country. It's going to be growth. And it's going to be using the assets and resources that we have, much of it right under the ground. We're going to rebuild our cities into beacons of hope, safety, and beauty better than they have ever been before. We're going to have to work with the Democrat governors and mayors on that. But our cities are just horribly run. And then we have our capital, our beautiful capital in Washington, D.C. We're going to take it over. We're going to clean it up. We're going to renovate it. We're going to rebuild it. We're going to make our capital the most beautiful anywhere in the world. We're going to get rid of the nightmare of murder and crime. And it will become the most beautiful capital anywhere in the world once again, but far more beautiful than it was before. And when you want to go from Michigan to see the Washington Monument, yes, we're keeping the name Washington, we're not changing the name. Or the Jefferson Memorial, where there's a big move to change the name, we're not changing the name. Remember when they were knocking down statues and I was president, and I found an old bill, and I reenacted the old bill. Anybody touching, knocking down, or even trying to harm any of our great statues or monuments goes to jail for a 10-year period with no commutation and no shortening of the sentence. And it was a beautiful sight as we watched everybody leave town. They left town so quickly. They left town. We said, bye, everybody. No, we have to meet people that have evil intentions. They wanted to knock down the Jefferson. If I didn't get the military out to save the Jefferson Memorial, they would have done a job. But I found this old law that today we're almost incapable of producing things like that. 10 years, and there's nothing like good behavior, and you get out in 2 days. It's 10 years in jail if you touch our monuments, if you even try to knock them down. I had a news conference, I signed it, and everybody left town. It was a beautiful thing to do. We're not doing it. We won't be changing the name of Jefferson, Washington, Lincoln, like they did our forts. I get out of office, they did our forts, right? We won 2 world wars of those forts, and now they have different names, many of them. Fort Bragg, and the people that live next to Fort Bragg are not happy. They're not happy. They changed the name. We won 2 world wars out of Fort Bragg, and then they decide to change the name because they think it's politically correct. On day 1, I will sign a new executive order to cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory, transgender insanity, and any other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content onto the shoulders of our children. And I will not give 1 penny to any school that has a vaccine mandate or a mask mandate. And I will keep men immediately, day 1, out of women's sports. And I will fully uphold our very important but under siege Second Amendment, as I did for 4 years. And I got the full endorsement from the NRA. You saw that. They gave us their full, strongest endorsement. No, for 4 years I protected, and it was not that easy to do. We will protect innocent life, and we will restore free speech, and I will secure our elections. Our goal will be 1 day voting with paper ballots, proof of citizenship, and voter ID. It's very simple. But until then, Republicans must win. We have to win, 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 win. We want a landslide that is too big to rig. I said it before. I'll say it 100 and 200, 300 times before that very spectacular date. But, remember, November 5th is not really the date. It starts in early September, North Carolina and some others, because now we have these ridiculous laws where you can vote before the election, after the election. We got to have 1 day voting, 1 day voting. What happened to those ballots that were over there last week? Oh, sir, we moved them around a little bit. Oh, really? I mean, think of it. You vote 2 months early. Nobody knows what the hell's going on. Where are all the ballots that happened? Why are they using a shovel? They're shoveling off. You ever see what goes on? Take a look at what happened in Georgia. They're shoveling ballots into wheelbarrows, moving them around. If you took the 10 worst presidents in the history of the United States and added them up, they would not have done near the destruction to our country as Joe Biden and his horrible Biden administration have done. They're destroying our country. They are destroying our country. And, you know, we get up and we have levity, we have laughter, but honest, there's really nothing funny about it. They got millions and millions of people, many of whom are criminals and terrorists, flowing through, and people from mental institutions flowing through into our country totally unchecked. And they moved many of them into hotels. Some of them are luxury hotels. Hotel owners are making a fortune. They're destroying their hotel in a certain way, but they're making a fortune. And our military is living on the street with nothing. And yet they're putting these people into luxury hotels. So if you want to save America, get your friends, get your family, get everyone you know and vote. You got to vote early, vote absentee. I don't care how you vote. You know, they all say, oh, sir, we have to vote early. Well, you know, a lot of times you vote early, that's God. You got to vote, and you got to follow your vote. Make sure it doesn't get canceled out. You can do it. Vote on election day. I don't care how you vote. You've got to vote. Vote early if you want. Everyone's saying vote early. I don't. But look, you got to vote, and you got to get out and vote. You got to protect your vote. That's what Michael's doing. He did it better than anybody else in the country in North Carolina. That stayed right here. When Georgia went down, when Pennsylvania went down, it stayed right there. All of a sudden, in certain states, they found all these votes. A totally rigged election. We're never going to let it happen again, because this time if it happens, we're not going to have a country. We won't have even a semblance of a country left. And if you want to help us ensure election integrity, sign up. It's called protectthevote.com. Protectthevote.com. Sign up. And that's on election integrity. You got to watch and watch very carefully. So in conclusion, from Marquette to Midland, from Lansing to Flint, and from Detroit to right here in Grand Rapids. We've had great victories in Grand Rapids. Remember when we won the state of Michigan? Now, we did much better the second time, but I won't mention that. But remember, and I was at Grand Rapids, and we came in, and we had a crowd like nobody ever saw late in the evening. Remember that? You were there? And we had a crowd like nobody's ever seen before. I said, why would we lose Michigan? And we ended up winning Michigan. I was right. Actually, Bill Clinton told Hillary that he was in Michigan. You're going to lose. You know, he's a good politician. You had a natural instinct. He said, you're going to lose Michigan. You're going to lose Wisconsin. They said, whoa, why are we listening to this man tell us this? And he was right. Wisconsin and Michigan. I said, why are we going to lose? We had 49,000 people show up. She had like 300 people show up. I said, why are we going to lose? And we won. We won Michigan. And then we did much better the second time, but bad things happened. We're not going to let that happen anymore. We stand on the shoulders of the brave Michigan patriots and tough Michigan workers who manned the first assembly lines. You remember that? Does anybody remember that? It was a long time ago. Anybody remembers that? They're extremely old. Is there anybody that wants to admit? They revolutionized industries and turned this state into a manufacturing powerhouse like no other. And we're going to bring it back. And we're going to bring it back. I'm not talking about lots of other industries. I'm talking about the auto industry, because it's such a big industry. I can say we're going to bring back cement. We're going to bring back all sorts. I'm just talking very simple. It's so simple. It's going to happen so fast. You're going to be at a level as though you were from 30, 40 years ago. You're going to manufacture cars again at a level that you haven't seen in many, many decades. You probably have to get rid of this fool, this stupid idiot representing the United Auto Workers, because he sells the auto. You know, I'm much more popular than anybody with the auto workers. We're going to get 95% of their vote. But they have a guy that, I mean, he pushes the electric mandate, and they're going to be made in China. They got to get rid of that guy. He's bad news. Your Michigan ancestors gave us Motown, the Mustang, and the might of the American Midwest. And it really is a might. They forged the steel, laid the railroads. tilled the fields, fought the battles, and won the victories that made America into the greatest and most powerful nation in the history of the world. It's true. It was the most powerful. But now we are a nation in decline, and it's a very serious decline. We are a failing nation. We are a nation run by fools and stupid people. We're a nation that has lost its confidence, its willpower, and its strength. We're a nation that has lost its way. But we are not going to allow this horror to continue. We're not going to let it happen. Less than 4 years ago, we were a great nation, and we will soon be a great nation again. With the right leadership, every disaster crooked Joe Biden has created can be fixed, and very, very quickly. Every problem can be solved, and every wrong can be rectified. By this time next year, America's borders will be strong, sealed, and secure. Very easily. Get ready, Tom Homan. Inflation will be in full retreat. Our economy will be roaring back. Optimism will be surging. You will have your confidence back. We don't have any confidence. That's like an athlete that can't sink the shot, can't hit the ball, lost his calm. We're going to have you hitting the ball again. We're going to have you playing at the top of your game. The American dream will be thriving again for citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed. Law and justice will reign all throughout our land. Freedom will be restored. The flame of liberty will be burning bright. Crooked Joe Biden, the worst president in the history of our country, will be a fading memory of the past, and our great silent majority, including the once forgotten men and women of our country, will be the one shaping America's magnificent future when I am the 47th president of the United States of America. Thank you. Because we are all Americans, and together we will show November 5th to be the most important day in the history of America. It will be the most important day. And when we turn it, our country's going to be great again. And if we don't turn it, our country is finished. You know it, and I know it, and everybody knows it. We are one movement, one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. And together we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you very much. Thank you, Michigan. Thank you very, very much. Thank you.